Last week, we got news that Donald Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, implicated him in a federal crime when it comes to hush money payments made to porn actress Stormy Daniels, who we all know Donald Trump had an affair with. And this is what Michael Cohen said. He made those payments in coordination and at the direction of a candidate for federal office. And that candidate, obviously, Donald J. Trump. Now, the reason why this is huge news is because since this payment was made in service of the campaign, well, obviously anything in excess of $2,700 is a campaign finance violation. That's a federal crime. Now, additionally, within the span of a week, Trump's top allies, like Paul Manafort, was found guilty on 8 different counts, including tax fraud and bank fraud. And some of his former close allies, like David Pecker of the National Enquirer, decided to flip on Donald Trump. And now, we recently got probably what will be the most troubling news for Donald Trump, because his former CFO, the CFO of the Trump Organization, who knows all of Donald Trump's finances like the back of his hand, has now flipped. This is absolutely monumental. So as Jen Kirby of Vox reports, Trump Organization finance chief Allen Weisselberg has been granted immunity in exchange for giving prosecutors information for the investigation into Donald Trump's former personal lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, and the hush money payments Cohen made to women during the 2016 presidential campaign. The Trump Organization CFO's cooperation is the latest twist in the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office's prosecution of Cohen, which began with an FBI raid in April. This week, Cohen pleaded guilty to 8 federal charges implicating the President of the United States in those crimes. Weisselberg is perhaps not as visible a figure in Trump world as Cohen, but he might be even more important. He served as the Trump Organization's chief financial officer since 2000, so if anyone knows about the company's financials, it's him. Weisselberg was subpoenaed in the investigation into Cohen, though it hasn't been confirmed that he has actually appeared before a grand jury, according to the Wall Street Journal. He has met with prosecutors, but the information he's provided, including whether Trump knew about the payments to the women, is still a question. The raid on Cohen was often seen as the biggest legal threat to Trump, but Weisselberg talking might be an even bigger problem for the president. As the New Yorker's Adam Davidson, who has covered the Trump Organization extensively, predicted, get ready for the autumn of Allen Weisselberg. A former Trump Organization employee told NBC reporter Katie Tur last month, after news of his subpoena broke, that Weisselberg knows where all the financial bodies are buried within the Trump Organization. He knows Trump's net worth. He knows any and every expenditure out of Trump Org was approved by Allen. So knowing how corrupt Donald Trump is, knowing how much of a sleazy businessman he was, how many lawsuits there was against him. If Donald Trump's CFO is flipping, I am inclined to believe we may be witnessing the beginning of the end of the Trump era. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case because honestly, I don't know, and there's a lot of details that I'm honestly still a little bit perplexed by. Like, for example, I don't know why Michael Cohen is saying he'd reject a pardon from Donald Trump. I don't know why he hasn't agreed to cooperate. That's not part of his deal. There's a lot that I'm confused by, and I think a lot of people are confused by because we have to wait until the Mueller investigation concludes, and we're kind of just all speculating as this plays out. But certainly, even if we don't know for sure if this is the beginning of the end, if there is an end to Donald Trump's administration that results in impeachment, this is certainly the beginning of that end. But we simply don't know. But it's not looking great for Donald Trump. And in an interview with a Fox News host, he was even talking about why we shouldn't impeach him.
You know, I guess it says something like high crimes and all. I don't know how you can impeach somebody who's done a great job. I'll tell you what, if I ever got impeached, I think the market would crash. I think everybody would be very poor, because without this thinking, you would see numbers that you wouldn't believe in reverse.
So I haven't really talked about the Stormy Daniels situation. I haven't given you an update to the investigation that Mueller is doing that resulted in numerous indictments of Trump allies, because I wanted to wait until there was a more substantial development, and this is certainly a very significant development. And as you can see, I kind of have a smile on my face, right? Because Donald Trump may very well be impeached. But at the same time, I feel very conflicted because even though if Donald Trump is guilty, well, he's not above the law. We have to prosecute him. We have to impeach him and lock his ass up if he is found to be guilty. But at the same time, I'm grappling with the fact that this means we're going to get a President Pence. And objectively speaking, Mike Pence is worse than Donald Trump. But I think that David Dole made a really good point in saying that progressives would benefit from having Mike Pence as president simply because the anti-Trump hysteria would go away, and this would kind of force Democrats to actually come up with specific policies. They can't just be anti-Trump. They actually have to stand for something now, because being anti-Mike Pence won't have the same appeal or galvanizing effect that they think it will have. But at the same time, when it comes to policy, Mike Pence is way more dangerous than Donald Trump, because Donald Trump tweets every dangerous thing he does. Mike Pence is a lot more calculative. He's someone who is politically astute, who can actually get things done quietly with little opposition. And it's iffy, right? But at the same time, if Donald Trump is gone, Mike Pence, I think, would probably, even though he'd run a more competent campaign, he doesn't have that anti-establishment appeal that Donald Trump has, which makes it more likely that someone like Bernie or any Democrat really would win, which, of course, would obviously be preferable. So this is really interesting, and I don't have any predictions. Certainly, when I read these news articles, I can't help but think he is screwed, and I think he knows he's screwed. But at the same time, it's hard to say, because I'm deeply cynical about the American justice system, because we've seen elites get off. We have this two-tier justice system where when poor people commit crimes, they get prosecuted to the full extent of the law, whereas elites, they get off scot-free. So, I mean, it's possible that even if he is implicated in this crime directly and is charged, we don't know if he can be indicted or not, but even if that's the case, we don't know if this will result in the end of his presidency. But certainly I am very interested to hear what Weisselberg has to say, because as the article stated, he knows where all the financial bodies are buried. That's huge. So really, we're playing a game of hurry up and wait, but it feels like we're caught in a political movie, and I'm ready to be done with this phase of American politics where everything is stupid and it feels like we're in the Twilight Zone and we have a cartoon character as our president. I'm just ready for it to be over. I'm ready to enter a new era of politics where progressives actually have at least some power. So, we'll see how it plays out, but certainly I will keep you guys posted if there's any big developments. But understand that this is certainly something to really pay attention to if you haven't been watching.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.